central bank digital currencies. If you are following financial matters, you know what those are. They're commonly called just CBDCs to reduce that long name down to a short name. But they line up very well with what the Bible says about the mark of the beast and how the mark of the beast will be a restriction on Christians and believers. And so that's kind of what I'm going to focus on here is that uh, that partial fulfillment. It's not a complete fulfillment, but um, what happened about a year and a half ago is I gave a message on 666, and we talked about the possibility that we were at a stage in our financial development where it was possible, or at least imaginable, where somebody could control the financial economy to the degree that they could actually ostracize people. And so cut out people like the Bible says that Christians would and believers would not be able to buy again. And but we didn't have a mechanism for that. And now with this CBDCs, we can actually see an implementation of it that you could do exactly that kind of thing. And so these CBDCs are being developed by the federal government, and not just our federal government, federal governments of other countries. And in fact, the BIS, which is the federal government of the federal governments, is doing the same thing. And these CBDCs are not what you have heard of for cryptocurrencies or digital currencies in the past. Um, and I hope not to get too technical here, but I'm going to have to get a little bit. The idea behind the original cryptocurrencies, and those came out about the 2005 or something like that, is that mankind was corruptible and mankind would always become corrupt and they would corrupt everything they touched. And they had done that with currencies. And so the problem you wanted to solve in any new currency is you wanted to eliminate the ability for mankind to control the currency. Because what had always happened in the past is that when there was a currency, the people who were in control of the currency would destroy the currency. They would mess it up as men do. And history tells us that. We know exactly that from Roman times because near the end of the Roman Empire, their silver coin, silver was the foundation for their currency, not gold. And so their silver coin had almost no silver in it by the end of it. And that was because they had essentially bankrupted the economy. And so that always happens. Whenever mankind is in charge of the currency, they corrupt it because they are corrupted people. And so the idea behind cryptocurrencies is that no one will be in control of the currency. So no one can do anything to change the currency, and the currency will just run all by itself. But these CBDCs are entirely different in that way. And it's important to understand that because the people who are behind these CBDCs right now are putting out a really big lie. They're saying, oh, this is just another digital currency like those other digital currencies you've heard of. They're like Bitcoin or like Ethereum and all the others. And that's a complete lie because they are entirely different in that they are a controlled currency. And government is going to be the one who's going to be in control of this currency. And so government will be able to direct exactly how the currency is run. And just like they've done now with the printing machines with our currency, they can print as much as they want and they can destroy it and do all the same things they want to with this currency that they're trying to create, this digital currency. So they are not at all the same. And these CBDCs are, in fact, a method for the government to control you. And that's more and more people are realizing that. And I hope that they will get this shut down, but we'll have to see because this is most governments in the world are really fond of this idea because they want that ability to control the economy and not just control the economy, but control you. And so what with CBDCs, if this implementation comes into fact and is really something that is the foundation for our new financial economy, the government control you by controlling your money. So if they don't like what you're doing, they can make it impossible for you to take money out of the bank to buy stuff. And they can control you completely that way. And that gives them the ability to limit or ostracize any group of people that they want to. And you know they would want to because we just went through the whole COVID business, and you would know that if CBDCs had been in effect at that time, they would have been able to definance all those people who were saying anti-COVID things. So that is really what their goal is complete economic control, and even more than that, complete personal control through them. And so that sounds very much like Revelation. I'm not saying these CBDCs are the mark of the beast, but I'm saying that we now have an implementation of a currency where it can be controlled in such a way that what we see in Revelation is now possible. It would be possible for a group of people to be ostracized from the economy so that they couldn't buy or sell anything again. So I'll read that passage from Revelation 13:16 through 17. And it says, "And it, the beast, will cause all, small and great, rich and poor, masters and servants, to be given a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads." Now, we don't have a mark like that in the CBDCs, but the CBDCs allow what verse 17 says, that no one may buy or sell again except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of its name. So CBDCs are an implementation of a currency that would allow that kind of control, that a group of people would be able to be limited so they couldn't buy or sell it anymore. And they might have money in the bank, but the bank, it would all be locked up because they wouldn't be allowed to by the government to control that. And so the government at that time would be the beast. And so what we see here is an implementation of what of the system behind what the beast would have set up at that time. Now, these CBDCs are not just for currency control and currency or control of people through the currency. They also plan to use them for identification of people and also for contracts. And so every contract that was signed would also be linked into the CBD system and kind of controlled through that. So this CBDC idea, more and more people are realizing what an evil, or at least potentially evil idea it is. If you had good people in control of it, maybe it would be all right. But good people are not going to be in control of it always, and we know that that's just a fact of life. And so it presents a really serious threat to us in our time, and one that leads us closer, one step closer to what Revelation says. So that's all I wanted to say on that. Any questions, comments?
Just me, Stan. So I don't know if you've heard of this, but our own state just spoke of this maybe during the week or maybe last week,
Yeah.
that they would like to have a CBDC for and exclusively for Texas, but supposedly it would be backed by gold. Now that's even more enticement for people who truly understand, who understand what CBDCs are, so more enticement for corruption and things like that. So even though it sounds better than the typical cryptocurrency, because nothing is behind a cryptocurrency, but involve gold or any precious metal, there will be some corruption, a lot of corruption.
Well, yeah, and you're right, and I know about that, and I've been following about that, and there is great potential for good in this idea. And because conservatives are behind it, I hope that they will get to that potential. And it's not, um, they say it won't be a centrally controlled currency, but we'll have to see exactly how that comes out in the design of it. They don't have any details like that now. But backing a currency with gold is actually a good thing because that means you can't manufacture money, and that's what's happened to cause our economy to be in the shape right now. Is that the government just print money whenever they need more money, they just print more money, and you can't do that when a currency is backed by gold because you would have to print gold, and nobody can print gold. So having a gold-backed currency like we used to back in the night until the 1970s is a limiting thing and therefore a good thing because it keeps governments from getting too far out of control. But even in the 1970s, the reason it was changed to a fiat currency is because corruption had already set in, and there were people who were fiddling around with the amount of gold. And other countries started to be concerned about the gold that America was holding, and they started pulling it out, and that was going to cause a crash because of the shenanigans that had gone on. So, yeah, I hope that Texas can do something right here. If they do, it can really be a winner, but we'll see how it comes out.
Yeah, I've also heard, Stan, I've been reading with interest about a lot of the countries in the world that are getting together and coming up with a some sort of money that they will be backed by gold as well. And their agenda seems to be to cause America to really have a downfall because as you know, we don't back anything. Uh, our paper money is not backed by anything at all, just by more paper, and that's all it is. But so we're really exchanging a bunch of paper that has no real value except for the faith we have in it and the government. But people are starting to lose faith in the government nowadays, as you know, and more than that, I think that too many uh, people don't want to make a change here, maybe except for Texas, maybe, but their idea is to really bring down the government, or this country. What and I guess later on we need to figure out exactly what are people to do, you know, what are people to do, about that, you because I don't have any answers for that either, but I hope we can come up with something.
Yeah, what you're talking about there is called the BRICS countries. BRICS is an acronym for the 5 countries that have started this idea. And yes, they're talking about a gold-backed currency. Whether the desire is to shut down or destroy the U.S. or whether it's actually driven by the U.S. is maybe in doubt, and maybe both are true. But this is being caused by the U.S. and its desire to just print its fiat currency, which is supposed to be the currency of the world. And because we've started doing that, a whole bunch of other countries are saying, well, this is nonsense. This is going to end in disaster, and we want to get away from it. And so it's really caused these countries to come in together. And it's not just those 5 countries anymore. There's a whole bunch of other countries that are starting to get into it, including some big names like Saudi Arabia, who want to be in a gold-backed currency again because it actually means something at that time. So yeah, we may have caused this problem ourselves by our financial foolishness, but nonetheless, it is on the offing. Whether these countries, who tend to be some of the most corrupt countries in the world, can actually get their act together and achieve this, we'll have to see. Who's going to trust China to tell you how much gold they actually have, for example? So they have some problems that they might run into yet. But the thing that is driving them towards that is mismanagement of the global dollar, which is the American dollar.
Yeah, this is just more signs of the end times, so
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the topic is here for. These things are coming
yeah,
together pretty quickly.
okay.
And you're asking about what can be done about it. You can't do anything about it right now. You just don't know. It can fall in so many ways and happen in so many ways that you couldn't make a plan. What I've done with my various investments is I'm just kind of diversified. I've got some of this and some of that, a little of this, and that's, I think, the best you can hope to do right now.